While flying on airplanes often evokes excitement and adventure, it's undeniable that the vast expanse above us holds mysteries and surprises that can leave us awestruck. From spine-chilling emergencies to unidentified flying objects, these moments challenge our perceptions of what is possible at 30,000 feet in the air. Get ready for takeoff as we fly through some of the craziest things caught by flight passengers that no one was supposed to see. Number 20. Near the entrance. Just a year ago, on an Asian Airlines Airbus A321 during a trip to South Korea, something bizarre unfolded. Picture this. You're on the plane, maybe kicking back, planning your arrival, when suddenly, out of nowhere, the emergency exit door is flung open. The rush of air, the chaos in the cabin, and everyone's hair whipping around. It's a scene straight out of a movie, right? But it's real. Two men found themselves stranded near the open door as the aeroplane, carrying nearly 200 passengers, was coming in to land at Daejeon International Airport. Now, you're probably scratching your head, wondering why someone would do such a thing. Luckily, the guy who pulled off this crazy stunt was interviewed, so we don't have to guess. He explained that he felt claustrophobic and thought the flight was dragging on too long. So, out of fear of losing his job, he decided to crack open the emergency exit. Can you believe it? Unfortunately, this impulsive act led to several passengers being hospitalized due to the sudden rush of air and commotion. But thankfully, there were no major injuries. As a precaution, Asiana Airlines decided to stop selling tickets for seats near the emergency exits on a few A321 jets. Meanwhile, the passenger responsible for the chaos faces prosecution for violating aviation security laws. It's a tough situation all around. He was stressed at work, and now he's got legal troubles to deal with on top of it all. Number 19. Debris drop. Aeroplanes are truly remarkable machines when you think about them. However, some passengers have found themselves learning more about the inner workings of aeroplanes than they bargained for. For instance, just after leaving Atlanta for Orlando on July 13, 2004, passengers aboard an AirTran flight were in for quite the sight. From a window seat, someone managed to snap a photo showing the inside of one of the jet engines. While this might seem terrifying to the average flyer, it's essential to note that it doesn't automatically spell disaster. These exterior panels, known as fan cowl doors, serve as an aerodynamic cover for the machinery underneath and are typically only opened for maintenance. However, the locks failed, resulting in everything blowing off instantly. The riskiest aspect of such a scenario is the possibility of fragments from the torn-off fan cowl doors falling and causing an accident. This situation unfolded on a more recent trip. On February 20, 2021, United Airlines Flight 328 departed from Denver en route to Hawaii, with everything seeming normal. However, passengers noticed the engine rattling half an hour into the flight as they flew above Broomfield, Colorado. As they glanced out the window, a portion of the engine cowling disintegrated due to the aircraft's right engine failing. This particular jet engine failure was unusual, with the engine on fire and debris raining down onto grassy roadside areas and the front yards of homes. Thankfully, no casualties were reported, and the plane made a safe landing, as most aircraft are designed to function with up to one engine out of commission. An investigation into the engine failure revealed that one of the engine's fans was at fault. Due to metal deterioration over time, one of the internal fan blades broke off entirely, blocking the engine and causing it to burst into flames, with sections shearing off and falling to the ground below. Number 18. Air China possession. We've all encountered rude individuals in public settings before. Whether it's a video of an unruly customer in a grocery store popping up on your social media feed, it's become common nowadays. But one particular incident stands out from the rest. On an Air China flight in 2017, a passenger claimed to be under the influence of demonic spirits. While it may sound far-fetched, hearing someone make such an outrageous claim can be unsettling. Just 20 minutes into the flight, this woman, who was in her 50s, caused quite a commotion. After fainting shortly after the plane departed from Beijing, the flight crew promptly arranged for medical assistance. However, upon regaining consciousness, she adamantly resisted any help and even became physically aggressive towards a security officer. Her loud and disruptive behavior persisted throughout the flight, resulting in a 5-hour delay. Despite efforts to calm her down, she continued to insist that she was being controlled by an invisible force, refusing to accept any medical examination. What happened to her after the flight remains unclear, but hopefully she received the assistance she needed. Number 17. Runway run-ins. If you think sitting on the runway is the safest part of flying, think again. In a recent incident at Barcelona Airport, a second plane zoomed towards passengers on a grounded aircraft during landing, causing an incredibly close encounter. There was a misunderstanding. The flying aircraft had been cleared to land while the grounded one was cleared to cross the runway. Luckily, the quick thinking of the flying pilot avoided disaster, but it's a reminder of the specialized training pilots receive to handle such situations. In such cases, pilots perform a safety maneuver called a go-around if the runway conditions aren't ideal for landing. This exact scenario unfolded in a video we just saw, but thankfully, it was a clear morning, making it easy to spot the plane on the runway. Similarly, a near miss occurred in February 2023 at Austin, Texas International Airport, when air traffic control double-booked a runway. A FedEx cargo plane and a Southwest Airlines flight were scheduled to land on the same runway, resulting in a tense moment. The FedEx pilot executed a go-around, preventing mishaps. Although it wasn't caught on camera, flight data revealed how close the two planes came to each other. Luckily, the difference in altitude kept passengers safe. Number 16. Creepy Crawly Cabin. Flying can be a nerve-wracking experience for many, with about 40% of people reporting some level of fear associated with it, known as aviophobia. However, for those dealing with flying anxiety, the situation can be even more complicated due to multiple phobias. Imagine being on a flight and encountering not just one, but two phobias at once. This nightmare became a reality for passengers on a flight when a tarantula was discovered mid-flight, likely brought on board unintentionally by a fellow traveler. But that's not the only creepy encounter in the air. In another incident on a Raven, Alaska aircraft flying between Antioch and Anchorage on March 2017, flight attendants were shocked to discover a snake on board. Initially spotted by a young passenger nestled under a seat in a bright yellow duffel bag, the snake was about 4 to 5 feet long. Although the snake species remained unknown, it was revealed that a traveler had abandoned the reptile on an earlier flight, unbeknownst to them until after landing. In a similar spine-chilling incident on an Aeromexico flight from Torreon to Mexico City, passengers experienced a real-life horror scene reminiscent of Snakes on a Plane, when a poisonous snake emerged from an overhead baggage compartment, sending passengers scrambling to safety. The pilot quickly alerted air traffic control, and the plane made a priority landing at Mexico City Airport within 10 minutes. Animal services promptly removed the snake, although the mystery of how it got on board remained unsolved. Number 15. Red sky frights. If you enjoy gazing out of airplane windows, you're likely familiar with the breathtaking sights the sky can offer. However, on July 2022, passengers aboard a particular aircraft were met with an unusual and somewhat eerie spectacle: fiery gateways seemingly embedded within the clouds. These strange orbs might strike one as reminiscent of upside-down nightmare portals. But before we delve into the supernatural realm, let's explore some more grounded explanations. These captivating images were captured somewhere above the Atlantic Ocean, yet the pilot's identity who snapped them remains a mystery. This only adds to the intrigue. What earthly phenomenon could emit such a mesmerizing glow from the heart of the ocean? The most plausible explanation points to the presence of a large fishing vessel equipped with powerful red lights. These lights are strategically employed to attract sauri, a baitfish. Sauri is known to be irresistibly drawn to vibrant red lights, much like moths to a flame. Fishing boats targeting these fish often use hundreds of bright LEDs for this purpose. Interestingly, similar sightings have been reported by passengers on flights and even astronauts aboard the International Space Station. In fact, the International Space Station has captured images of numerous fishing vessels employing green lights, which are believed to aid in squid hunting. So, while this crimson sky at night may indeed be a fisherman's paradise, it can also be a source of bewilderment and even trepidation for unsuspecting aeroplane passengers. Number 14. Window woes. Flying is undeniably one of the best ways to see the world quickly. However, there's a common debate among travelers. Which seat is better, the window or the aisle? On a Southwest Airlines flight from Arizona to Las Vegas, one passenger in a window seat got an unexpected answer to this question. Surprisingly, smashing an aeroplane window at 30,000 feet isn't always as dangerous as it sounds, although the mere thought is terrifying. Aircraft windows endure significant stress because the outside air pressure at cruising altitude is much lower than inside the cabin. Fortunately, modern aeroplane windows are designed to handle this pressure difference. While all three layers are important, the outer and middle panes bear the brunt of the load. The inner scratch pane, where you might rest your head or place your phone, isn't structurally essential and doesn't guarantee safety. Its purpose is simply to protect the vital components. Although it's unclear how the scratch glass broke in the incident we just mentioned, thankfully, there wasn't much harm done. However, the unhappy passenger received a $300 flight voucher as a goodwill gesture. Number 13. Bubblegum Menace. A 6 to 8 hour journey can sometimes feel excruciatingly boring for most passengers. In-flight screens often come to the rescue, providing a much-needed distraction. However, imagine the frustration when the person seated before you becomes an unexpected obstacle, their unruly hair repeatedly obstructing your view of the screen. This was the predicament faced by one traveler who had finally reached her breaking point. Despite her attempts to politely address the situation, the woman in front continued to disrupt her screen view with her hair, inadvertently. Faced with this ongoing annoyance, our protagonist took matters into her own hands. With a bold and unconventional move, she inserted a piece of chewing gum into the passenger's hair, hoping to end the persistent obstruction. But she didn't stop there. Armed with nail clippers, she daringly snipped off sections of the offending hair, adding a lollipop to the mix for good measure, and even dipping the ends into her coffee cup. The audacity of her actions sparked a flurry of reactions on social media, with opinions sharply divided. While some applauded her boldness and saw it as a justified response to a persistent annoyance, others deemed her actions excessive and inappropriate. So what are your thoughts on this unconventional in-flight encounter? Number 12. Unsolved UFO. Looking out the window during a flight often offers the best entertainment. But what if you spotted something like this? On February 6, 2022, TikToker Zoe Montoya filmed this while flying from Las Vegas to Tulsa. So what's going on here? Some suggest it could be contrails, short for condensation trails, while others lean towards theories of aliens or damaged planes. Contrails are mostly ice crystals released from aircraft engines or due to air pressure changes. Usually they're white streaks but can vary in color depending on factors like time of day. The dark smoke might be from a distant plane. Zoe's video doesn't show the plane, but it could be far away. A commenter, Matt, had a similar experience, but their pilot mom confirmed they were contrails. This shadowed contrails theory makes sense, backed by a pilot. Another video from March 2019 shows a similar flyby, which could also be contrails. Some speculate about aliens, especially since Area 51 is close by. However, skepticism is warranted. What's your take? Are these just contrails, smoke phenomena, or something more mysterious? Number 11. Sky Zoo. If you're a pet owner, you know that one of the hardest parts of traveling is leaving your furry friends behind. But for some, animals aren't just companions. They're essential travel buddies. Take Jody Smalley from Seattle, Washington, for example. She's not afraid to raise a few eyebrows with her unconventional choice of travel companion, a 25-pound turkey named Easter. Yes, you heard that right. Jody took Easter everywhere, including on flights, after her husband's passing in 2015, finding solace in their unique bond. These photos captured Easter's flight with Jody in 2016 when they traveled to San Francisco to scatter her husband's ashes. Easter is classified as an emotional support animal, providing much-needed emotional therapy for Jody during a difficult time. While emotional support animals like Easter may not have the same legal standing as service animals like seeing eye dogs or seizure response dogs, they can be just as essential to some people's well-being. However, as more passengers brought their furry or feathered companions on board, airlines struggled to maintain order in the cabin. The Air Carriers Access Act prohibits airlines from charging extra fees for emotional support animals, leading to a surge in all kinds of animals, from pigs to horses, joining passengers on flights. However, the situation reached a tipping point, with flight attendants often dealing with disruptive animals on board. In December 2020, the U.S. Department of Transportation intervened, allowing airlines to ban emotional support animals while accommodating service dogs for disabled customers. Number 10. Black hole. While peering out of an aeroplane window often feels like glimpsing into the heavens, our recent flight had a much darker encounter. Picture this: a swirling, ominous vortex looming in the sky, reminiscent of a cosmic black hole. However, this chilling sight wasn't extraterrestrial, but was firmly rooted in our earthly realm. Passengers flying over East Palestine, Ohio, were startled by this apocalyptic swirl following a train accident in February 2023. The train, loaded with hazardous chemicals, derailed, spilling its toxic cargo into its surroundings. While the initial incident occurred on February 3rd, the menacing smoke monster originated from a controlled fire on February 6th, initiated to prevent chemical explosions. Though the sight of the dark plume from above was unnerving, the real terror lay in the hazardous aftermath below. Number 9. From air to orbit. For many of us, taking a flight is the closest we'll ever get to experiencing the vastness of space. However, in May 2021, a group of unsuspecting travelers from JFK, New York to Cancun, Mexico, were in for an extraordinary surprise. A passenger seated by the window on a Delta aircraft witnessed something remarkable: an Atlas V rocket launch from the United States while flying above the Cape Canaveral space station. What made this launch particularly fascinating was its purpose: a missile warning satellite designed to detect the launch of ballistic missiles and promptly alert ground stations. For the average traveler, witnessing such an event is undoubtedly a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But you might wonder, how is it safe for a commercial aircraft to fly so close to a rocket launch? When a launch occurs, air traffic control takes proactive measures to ensure safety. They impose limits on the airspace surrounding the rocket's intended flight path. Additionally, spaceports are often strategically located near oceans, allowing rockets to launch over water rather than in densely populated areas. In the case of this Atlas V launch, the Delta passengers were perfectly safe in their front row seats high above the ground. This is because the no-fly restrictions surrounding Cape Canaveral extended approximately 30 miles to sea, aligning with the rocket's direction. So, while it may seem like a close encounter with space, rest assured that safety measures are always in place to protect travelers in the sky. Number 8. Passenger problems. Maxwell Berry's journey from Philadelphia to Miami on July 31, 2021, took an unexpected turn, landing him in a situation he never anticipated. He was in a position in which he had to be firmly duct-taped in place on his seat. How did he end up in such a peculiar predicament? Well, let's backtrack a bit. It all began when Max drank too much during his 3-hour flight. What started as mild impoliteness soon escalated into a full-blown altercation. Things took a serious turn when Max got into a heated argument with a flight attendant and made unwelcome advances towards 2 other crew members. Amidst the chaos, Max found himself screaming in a drunken stupor, ultimately leading to his duct-taped confinement for the remainder of the journey. Now, you might wonder why you should resort to such extreme measures. The truth is, during air travel, ensuring the safety of passengers and crew is paramount. While resorting to duct tape and restraints may seem drastic, airlines face a unique challenge. Unlike in other public settings, crew members cannot simply remove unruly passengers from an aircraft mid-flight. Instead, they must rely on restraint techniques to maintain order and prevent potential harm. While Max's antics may have amused some fellow travelers, the consequences were far from lighthearted. Ultimately, Max was sentenced to 60 days in jail and fined approximately $1,500 for his disruptive actions. Number 7. Gator Gate. Reuniting with loved ones eagerly awaiting your return at the gate after a flight is undeniably one of the most heartwarming experiences of coming home. Yet, there's one airport where you might encounter a slightly more unconventional welcoming party. Behold this unique scenario. Picture this: You've just landed at Orlando International Airport on June 2018, and as you taxi towards your gate on a Spirit Airlines flight, you're met with an unexpected delay. Why? Because an alligator decided to take a leisurely stroll across the runway, causing a temporary halt to your journey. With a staggering 1.3 million alligators calling Florida home, encounters like these are not unheard of, even at airports. Situated amidst over 12,000 acres of Florida wetlands, Orlando International Airport has taken proactive measures, employing a resident biologist and maintaining a wildlife response team on standby to handle such encounters. Number 6. Koala Cabins. In every corner of the globe, the allure of flying first class remains a dream for many. Yet that dream became a reality for 4 lucky individuals without needing hefty savings. Meet Paddle, Palita, Chan, and Adalia, 4 charming koalas who embarked on a special journey from Brisbane, Australia to Singapore in April 2015. Their voyage marked a celebratory gift commemorating Singapore's 50 years of independence. These Aussie aviators reveled in the lap of luxury as they settled into their own seats, with ample legroom and an endless supply of Schweppes cans. While snapshots from their journey may suggest pampering with hot towels and eucalyptus, the reality was a bit more grounded. Due to airline regulations concerning wild animals, the koalas spent their flight safely in the aircraft hold. Despite their undeniable cuteness, these marsupials were on the endangered species list as of February 2022. Beyond their symbolic role in fostering diplomatic ties, the koala quartet was also intended to play a vital role in establishing and maintaining a koala colony in Singapore. And now, hold on to your seats because it's time for our subscribers pick, and we've got a jaw-dropping scene that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about air travel. Flight passengers capture what no one was supposed to see: a daring individual perched precariously on the wing of a plane mid-flight. Yep, you heard me right. Who needs a seat when you can hitch a ride on the wing, right? Some say it's a hoax, but others speculate that this could be the work of an adrenaline-seeking daredevil looking to rack up those internet points. What do you think? Is this guy a real-life superhero, or just another internet sensation in the making? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's unravel this airborne mystery together. Number 5. Police on board. A plane being diverted is a clear indication that something has gone awry. When law enforcement officers board a plane mere minutes after its unexpected landing, it's evident that a significant event has occurred. This was the unsettling scenario experienced by several passengers aboard a Hawaiian Airlines flight in 2021. The flight, originally bound for Hilo from Honolulu, had to make an unscheduled return to Honolulu due to reports of a passenger injuring a flight attendant. Faced with the unruly behavior of the 32-year-old passenger, flight attendants were compelled to take decisive action. Consequently, the individual was placed under custody and may face serious repercussions. While such incidents are rare, they can be deeply unsettling when they occur. According to reports, a miscommunication likely sparked the altercation, subjecting everyone on board to unnecessary stress and anxiety. Such disruptions waste valuable time and impose emotional tolls on passengers. While flight attendants are trained to handle a variety of emergency situations, managing disruptive passengers who pose harm to them falls outside the scope of their duties. Number 4. Piggyback. Although the idea of a plane landing on top of another sounds utterly catastrophic, travelers in the departure lounges at LAX were treated to a startling sight on September 2021. What they actually witnessed was even more dramatic: a rocket appearing to land on a jet. Take a closer look. This 2-person airmobile might be alarming, but it's entirely safe. This aircraft is one of just 2 Boeing 747s specially equipped to transport space shuttles between various space stations. Operated by NASA as a space shuttle carrier, these planes played a crucial role in NASA's Space Shuttle program, which commenced operations in 1981. However, by 2011, the program was deemed too costly to sustain. This landing was visually striking and held significance as Space Shuttle Endeavour's final flight before being permanently displayed at the California Science Center. While airports are often associated with anxiety and rushing to reach your destination, sometimes you can witness history in the making if you take the time to observe your surroundings. Number 3. feed on the screen. When this video first hit the internet, it spread like wildfire. And really, can you blame anyone for being shocked? The footage speaks for itself. We don't know much about the passenger, but his behavior is eyebrow-raising. Imagine enjoying your meal and watching your screen, unaware that a stranger just used his toes to navigate the system. It's a scene that calls for a good dose of hand sanitizer, don't you think? In today's world, trusting strangers can be tricky, and seeing something like this would make anyone double-take. So, how would you react if you found yourself in this situation during your flight? Would you sit there in disbelief, or would you try to get the attention of the cabin crew? Let us know in the comments below. This incident really drives home the importance of hygiene and etiquette in shared spaces like aeroplanes. It reminds us to be mindful of our actions, especially in tight quarters. Keeping public spaces clean is crucial, especially during heightened health concerns. Number 2. Lost cats. Losing a beloved pet during a flight is every pet owner's worst nightmare. It's one of the scariest things they can imagine happening. Imagine this. A cat suddenly appears out of nowhere, perching itself atop a seat, searching for something. We can all guess this little guy is looking for its owner, or a safe place to go. Many began recording the moment as soon as the passengers spotted the cat. The in-flight entertainment suddenly became this tabby cat's great escape. Thankfully, the owner and the tabby were soon reunited. However, there have been other instances of cats getting lost mid-flight. After breaking free from its carrier on a United Airlines flight from Dallas to San Francisco, one cat decided to explore the cabin. Despite being 37,000 feet in the air, passengers and cabin crew found amusement in the cat's adventure. Chaos ensued when the cat ventured into the first-class cabin, but eventually, the owner emerged and reclaimed their fur. Another incident occurred in 2023 on a JetBlue flight from Ontario to New York. During the journey, a domestic shorthair named Brian escaped from his carrier while his owners, software engineer Alexis Woodbury and her fiancé Chris Forney, were asleep. Brian's impromptu journey began as he ventured out of his kitty backpack. The flight attendant's announcement, "Is anyone missing a cat? We have a large gray and white cat here," startled the owners awake. What followed was a heartwarming spectacle of people clapping and laughing as Brian was safely returned to his owners, carried by a member of the flight staff like a VIP on a red carpet. Number 1. Plastic plane protection. Imagine looking around your plane seat after taking a few minutes to settle in, only to be greeted with an unusual sight. Next to you sits a man, not lifeless as you might first assume, but rather wrapped snugly in a large plastic bag. Intriguing, right? So why the plastic bag? This man followed a strict religious practice rooted in the Haredi Jewish faith. In this tradition, individuals descended from priests, known as Cohens, must maintain a certain level of purity by avoiding contact with the deceased. This extends to cemeteries, where Cohens are prohibited from getting too close to tombstones without a significant barrier between them. Now, you might be wondering how this relates to aeroplanes. Well, it's quite fascinating. Flights occasionally pass over these burial grounds in cities like Tel Aviv, Israel, where cemeteries dot the outskirts. When an El Al Israel airline pilot discovered this, he sought guidance from his rabbi. The result? A religious directive advises Cohens to shield themselves with thick plastic when flying over cemeteries. Soon enough, word spread, and passengers began requesting to be wrapped in plastic for their flights. But as you can imagine, this posed a safety concern for airlines like El Al. Not only would plastic-wrapped passengers be unable to move freely in case of an emergency, but breathing through plastic can also be quite challenging. El Al implemented a strict policy to mitigate these risks, banning passengers from bringing plastic body bags. Since then, the airline has ensured flight paths avoid graveyards altogether, prioritizing safety over religious practices. So, next time you board an El Al flight, rest assured that your only companions in the overhead bins are snacks, not priests wrapped in plastic. Have you ever seen anything on a plane you thought you weren't supposed to see? Let us know in the comments below. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now, and see you in the next video. Take care.